We feel particularly aggrieved by this, given that many people take a great pride in their huts, chalets, the beach and Felixstowe as a whole. Our contribution to litter clearance, repairs to toilets, security etc. has gone unnoted and is unappreciated. We add value to Felixstowe Beach, Prom, and we believe we should have been consulted at a local level. We would like to see the copy of the minutes of the last meeting. Now in fact, we didn't get them that day, but Trevor has managed to get through to them, and I believe Barbara also, and managed to get some copies of the minutes. And as Trevor said earlier, they started off by saying 10% and then it went to 12%. On the chalets, they couldn't answer the question about 20%, they just said it was all on demand and market value, okay? That's every answer we got all the time. I'm sorry, I know we're not, but we did, I can assure you, we spent 2 hours on this all the time. The third question we raised was, why does Suffolk Coastal District Council see fit to charge way above what other local councils do for beach huts and chalets? We put it to you, this is way out of step with best community practice based on the evidence we have collated. Now, Barbara has collated a lot of information from Tenbury District Council about the beach huts in Frinton, Walton, Clacton-on-Sea, etc. And what I'm going to do is pass you over to Barbara, who can give some more information.
Well, if you cast your mind back to January, when we first found out about the hike on the huts, you will note that we hadn't had a letter or any indication that this was going to happen. So the only thing that we all received was the bulletin, which states how much we are expected to pay this year, but don't act on this. I actually put in a complaint and said that I thought it was out of order to, you know, put that sort of hike on. So I contacted Mr. Holdcroft, and I stated in the letter that we were really astounded with the rate, and I said, you know, please will you put this into consideration? Well, I didn't get a response, and apparently there were 40 people that made complaints on that day about that article that were in the paper, and I don't believe that anybody got any response whatsoever. So 3 weeks later, when I came back from my holiday, I checked my emails every day. There was still nothing on there. So the day that I came back, I saw in the paper this, and that was to tell me that the hike was going ahead anyway. So I contacted him again and said he must be a very ignorant man not to answer anybody's complaints, even if there were only 40 complaints, as is stated in there. His answer to that was, because I said he was ignorant, he had to answer me. So it took 3 weeks, he answered, and on account of that, this is what we got back, or this is the letter that I got back. Basically, it was saying that he'd made comparisons and he'd taken it upon himself to compare us with Clacton. So, to counter that, what I did, I went on the internet and I produced some data. This is Tenbury District Council's beach hut site licences for 2012-13. Now, this is the data that I produced at the last meeting, which I think everyone was quite shocked about. If you're a resident in Clacton, you pay £222. If you're a non-resident, you pay £450. If you have a chalet, you pay £678. Now, from those figures, where did he pronounce? He didn't. I mean, I'm a resident, so in theory, my hut should be £222. However, it's close to 800. That's why we've just chopped off 18 inches in protest, because I thought, well, that's my way of saying that's £200 less you're going to get from me. But on account of that and the publicity that's come from that, this is where we do realise now we do have to make a stand, because it is just completely and utterly, it's off the radar what they're asking, and the fact that we have been misled to assume that he were right with his figures. When I questioned him at the meeting and I said, give me a reason why you chose these figures. Again, 6 times we were responded by, it's down to market value. but no explanation. So basically, from there, this is where we have to literally fight this on now. We have to take them on this, because through greed more than anything, we have to see this through and make sure that by forming an association, this doesn't happen again. They may think they've got on the soft side of us this year, but like I pointed out to him, there was one lady in particular at the meeting before that shook her stick. And this particular lady probably is going to give up her hut this year because she can't afford the hike. There'll probably be a lot of other people. Now, when you've lived in Felixstowe, worked in Felixstowe, and you want to retire in Felixstowe, it's a kick up the butt, basically, and it shouldn't be allowed to happen. So we have to strenuously object to this, and we will draw up. I'm going to a meeting at Frinton, to their AGM on Friday. I'm going to find out how it works, how they've drawn up their constitution, and we'll start taking it from there. So I think these meetings are going to become quite a regular event, and I think it's also suggested that maybe over Easter we may form a march through Felixstowe. It's got to be better weather. I've been down at the beach this morning chopping off 18 inches and it's freezing, so we'll pick a nice warm day. But we have to fight this. We have to carry on now, because if we don't, they'll think we're a soft touch, and this is going to happen year in and year out, so it mustn't be allowed.
A point of information.
Sorry, I've got information coming. Yes, Michael.
The Town Council is responsible for very few services that we receive, but they are responsible for the allotments and the graveyard.
Correct.
If you're a resident in our town, they will bury you at half the price of what they would pay if you were without. So there is a precedent that is set for a service that is being delivered by a part of our local authority, which is our town council. You should be able to apply the same to the beach huts.
I think that's a wonderful comparison. Sorry,
Yeah.
hold on. I can see a lovely lady over the back. Yes, ma'am.
Just for the people who were not at the last meeting,
Yes.
which was really well attended, as this one is as well, thank you very much. Thank you for these guys here. It was pointed out by Herring that the swimming pool was part of the facilities that some of this money goes towards. Now, I think I'm right in saying that that is actually under a private contract. It is not a council.
It's contracted
facility.
out.
Is that correct?
Yes.
It's contracted out.
Yeah.
So it's not, even that money is not going towards that.
Yeah, but it goes, yeah, I think it goes to the upkeep, but not of the actual pool, but the building. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that.
Also, I was speaking to one of the gardening guys down at the council, down at the front as well, and that they said that they've left a lot of the beds to fallow this year because they have been told that normally they cut the grass 15 times a year.
Yep.
That has been put down to only, I think I'm right in saying, 12 cuts a year. In Eastbourne, they had gone down from 12 cuts a year to 6 cuts a year, so their grass is like this. And when the lottery people come round in April to reassess the gardens, the reason why they're not going to plant up in the April is because all the beds will be ripped out by the lottery people, so therefore that will be another waste of money. So what the guy was saying was, it is not because they do not want to keep up the maintenance of the gardens. It isn't because they're on strike, it isn't because they've been laid off, it is that they are under instruction by the council. And again, this is more fallacies and more lies by these guys.
Point of information, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
For the last 8 to 10 years, the responsibility that the district council took over from the town council has been, if you like, reduced year on year. You may remember we used to have a sculptured garden thing in front of the leisure centre. The district gave up on that a long time ago, and it falls to Felixstowe Town Council to pick up the bill for that to be provided. And that's also true of a number of the show gardens. So over the last 10 years, there's been a continuous refusal by the district to support the resort as a garden resort. And I think probably you could list all of the things that they have decided not to support over that period of time.
Thank you very much. I'll take your point. Right. Sorry, I believe Barbara wanted to.
It was just about the Mr. Holcroft and his statement regarding the. I think Roy raised the issue about paying, if we've got to be paying these bills. The fact that he's got a chalet and it's going to be cost, what is it?
£1,700.
£1,700. So he made a suggestion to Mr. Holcroft, and he actually asked him, would it be possible to have it alongside his rates? Mr. Holcroft, after dismissing what I'd said about the two sets of figures, he said, oh yes, he said, well, I do believe I will look into that. So I said straight away, so I said, right, so don't move the goalpost then, because if you're going to be doing that, and you can make that more easier for people to pay, then what about the concession for us? And then the 5 people that may be giving up their huts this year, instead of paying the £600 that they're being asked, they'll be paying the £222 and they can enjoy their retirement. He didn't answer to that.
No, there's a lot of things he didn't answer to, unfortunately. But no, going back to the other point which Barbara mentioned, which I was going to raise later, we did ask if we could spare the costs over 10 months for the beach huts and chalets. They've replied, I believe yesterday, Trevor, they said they indicated that the beach huts would have to remain one payment, but the chalets they're looking into, they're still, was that right? Oh, I believe I got an email, sorry, from the finance department that said they are looking into it, but it would only possibly apply to the chalets. But they didn't say when and if we're going to get the actual answer. I did ask for the answer this morning, but it didn't come in.
They divide and rule you.
Sorry?
You can pay your beach hut rent in instalments over 4 months, I think.
Oh yes, you can pay before.
But
Sorry.
you have to pay more money.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. You can spread your payments over 4 months. It's April, May, June and July, but you do get a £20 administration charge.
Yes.
Now also, the next question we asked, I'll just go on, if I may. He says, we would also appear from our research, 2% seems to be the normal increase that other areas are experiencing. If this is a commercial outlet for the council, why are you not reducing the cost base like other commercial outlets are having to do? Mr. Herring's answer to that was, it's a market value. This market value kept appearing. Simon in particular, I think asked the question 6 times, 6 or 7 times, how they arrived at market value, and we never got anywhere at all.
Or what it meant?
No, he couldn't establish what it meant, he just kept saying market value and market value. We then asked the question, we believe the beach huts are raising, we said, £750,000 per annum, and the chalets will now generate £94,000 per annum. Please can you confirm the exact amounts of income generated from the beach huts and chalets. Now, I think Trevor obviously got that answer, and he gave you some information this morning about that earlier on. We then asked for a breakdown of the cost allocation against the running of the beach huts and chalets each year. And again, I think Trevor obviously gave us some figures earlier on, which they dreamed up, we think, we're not sure. Because we cannot obviously see where their costs are being incurred. They do nothing at all on the chalets, and I know they do less than nothing at all, I believe, on the beach huts. I mean, the beach huts you all do your own, we know, but they don't even look after the footpaths, or they don't, anything. Clear up the dog's mess or anything around it. It's disgusting. And when we raised all this with them, and he kept saying, okay, we'll make a note of it, we'll make sure it's being done. It's all we will do, but nothing's been positive. Yes, sir.
Is it their intention that when the Bartlett's been built up into apartments to knock the chalets down? Because they're not doing any maintenance on them, they're obviously going to go down the
You've read the thoughts I've had. I think you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, could happen.
It's going to be very nice, but he did say that they're coming to the end of their life. But as Trevor said earlier, if you don't look after them, they're going to come to the end of their life, aren't they? I mean, they've done nothing at all. Well, it may be part of the plan, but of course where the other chalets are, which is under the Cliff Cafe, Bartow Hill and beyond, of course that garden is supposed to be renovated. That's going to be part and parcel of this wonderful lottery park. So what they're going to do there, I don't know. But Mr. Herring didn't give us a life period. He didn't say next year, 2 years or 3 years. One thing he did say, that they possibly have built into the budget for next year, I think it was right, wasn't it? To do the roofs of the chalets. That's wonderful, isn't it? Well, I thought it was terrific. After 6 years, we're going to have the roofs done. and they've collected all this money. Anyway, I think, yes, there's a gentleman over there.